The NFC East is down to the Eagles and the Cowboys. The Washington football team
You don't.
not in it. I'll tell you why. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dorm Debate Podcast. We are back from our little Thanksgiving hiatus. We took a little break. Hopefully you didn't miss us. We had no John's Fantasy Football Show, nor Dorm Debate Podcast. We had no content, but hopefully you guys survived. We just relaxed, had a great Thanksgiving. Well, I didn't even ask you guys. Did you guys all have a great Thanksgiving?
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
It was okay. The Cowboys should have won, but hey.
What's that, like the third straight year you guys have lost on Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they have a feast before the game or something. I don't know.
Too big of a meal. Zeke's eating too much. He's
Probably.
Who knows? So we're going to talk about last week. Obviously, we'll talk a little bit about the Thanksgiving game. We're going to talk about the NFC East. So, Caleb, that means we're going to talk about your Eagles. Finally.
Yes.
You probably hoped that we would talk about them after a win, but
Yeah.
if you look at the division, you guys are right in playoffs position right now. You could make a huge push for the playoffs. So it's anybody's game.
Yeah. It would have been an easier conversation, easier way to talk had we won. Like, that was a game against the Giants we should have won. It's certainly a heartbreaker. I know a lot of trash has been thrown on Rager, kind of two admittedly big drops, but I was curious to ask your guys' take. I was watching some of the highlights from the game, and it, obviously Hurts threw a couple picks, not great. I think two of them I was watching, I'm like, yeah, like at least one of them was like off a deflection, like one of them shouldn't account. One of them was a bad decision. The other one was like, yeah, that's kind of not a pass into double coverage you should make. So it's like, I'm happy that the Eagles. I never threw in the towel this season, right? Like, unlike
Never.
It's crazy that they are in a position to make the playoffs, because at the start of the season, and we can go back to say specifically what I said, but I just didn't have a lot of high hopes, and always an Eagles fan, always rooting for the team. But with the new coach, first year with Hurts as the starter from the beginning, it was just not a lot of indicators that we're gonna have a good year, and for a while it was true, but I think it's NFC East as a collective has had struggles. Namely, the Cowboys weren't able to run away with it quite yet. Sorry, Jonathan. I think still you're looking at maybe a potential wild card for the second place, but yeah, that was a chance for the Eagles to really win. I just showed the Giants defense was killing it. I mean, the capitalizing, they were playing like they wanted blood, Not that the Eagles didn't, but it was a war of attrition that the Giants defense came up with at the end. So I don't think it's a tough loss. It's like tough being an Eagles fan, because sometimes you win games you should not. Then the opposite's true. So it's like, I'm curious what you guys think. Do you guys think Hurts is a problem for the Eagles from your guys' unbiased perspective, or do you think it was just the defense being much better, Rager's drops? Like, as an Eagles fan, I'm biased, but I was curious what you guys were thinking.
I mean, there was an interception in the red zone right at the end of the half by Hurts.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was a play call to where they shouldn't have called a pass, but they could have taken a field goal to tie the game up, and they took a chance, and Hurts threw an interception, so that cost them some points.
Well, shut him out of the half for sure. So that's a huge motivation. That was the one I was like, yeah, that's Hurts. But there was the other one that was like towards the. It's like, say what you will about getting into that position, because I still want to hear your guys' takes, but up until the very last moment, Hurts was keeping us in it, and like to have two like really hard passes. The first drop by Rager that was much easier to. Well, I don't know, much easier. They're tough passes, but it's like to keep the team in the game and then have it go the way it did at the end, all the way to the end twice. It's like that was rough,
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to it later on, but I have Jalen Hurts in fantasy. He gets the job done usually. Last week he did, and I switched it up and I put Lamar. But I think one issue for the Eagles is running back position. Like Miles Sanders, and there's just no one guy that you can trust in the backfield. It's always so random. I mean, John, you always talk about in fantasy, it's like people ask you about Boston Scott or Jordan Howard or Miles Sanders, and you're like, I can't tell you if you should start him or not. I can't trust the backfield.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the problems. I know we'll get to it later, but like you said, they need to Sirianni. There's been a lot of talk that he comes from the Indianapolis coaching staff, which has the philosophy of running back by committee. But it's like one game, they're like, all right, we're going to give it to Sanders. Then Sanders fumbles twice. And they're like, all right, we're not going to use him. So then they're like, oh, well, wait, Howard is hurt. So then they give it to Boston Scott. And then when the Eagles were like going down on the last drive to try to come back, Gainwell is on the field. And Gainwell was a healthy scratch 2 games ago. So it's like, it's anybody's guess who's going to be used. So they need to, I think, I mean, I don't know. That's me. If I was a coach of a team, I think you have to stick. You can use running back by committee. It kind of works with Zeke and Pollard. But if a guy has like a couple good runs, you got to keep him in there. Like, see what else he can do. You know, we always talk like, oh, if you give this guy 20 carries, the team wins like a lot of the percentage of games. There's a reason why that happens. Like, they get better as the game goes on. But I guess Sirianni has a philosophy that, oh, you need to spread it out, keep fresh legs, but whatever he thinks.
Sounds like you don't agree.
Yeah, so in terms of the rushing, I don't think that's a huge issue. They're about average. They don't have a terrible rushing problem.
Well, they did.
Think about it.
They did, but then they started to run the ball a lot. Like within the last few weeks, they started to really run it.
Like season-wise, you might be right. In the last 6 games, it was like crazy the amount. But you were saying, Jonathan?
Yeah, and I'm not against the rushing by committee approach because, again, think of the Cleveland Browns, Cowboys, Saints were sort of doing it until Kamara got hurt, right?
Right.
I think that approach works. It does work if you have a good lineman. You need like fresh legs. It's a long season. It's helpful. It can work. I think the real issue, though, like I'm gonna go ahead and say it. The Eagles shouldn't have let Carson Wentz go.
Oh my gosh,
What?
no!
Wait a minute.
No.
Did you say
They shouldn't have let him go.
They should have.
They should not have let him.
Carson Wentz is so bad.
No, okay.
No, he's not bad. All right, let me read you some stats.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, Carson Wentz, has a so far this season a 96.0 passer rating. That's pretty good. 21 touchdowns, just 5 interceptions. Over 2,700 yards.
Does he have the best running back in the league right now?
Best line.
Come on.
And the best line.
He does.
No, you guys know that's 100% a fact, and everybody in the NFL community would agree that the Colts have the best offensive line and the best running back in the league.
Yeah, but look at Jalen Hurts.
Dude, Carson Wentz, when the Buccaneers wanted to stop the run and stop Jonathan Taylor, Carson Wentz threw like 3 interceptions and a fumble, and that's how the Buccaneers came back and won the game. You cannot.
I'm not saying he's flawless. I'm not saying he's perfect. I'm not saying he's Tom Brady. But
you can't say he's better than Hurts, though.
Well, Hurts, 13 touchdowns, 8 interceptions.
You can't go all by that. You can't go all by stats, though. I know you like to
I've
go
seen
by
him. I mean, it's not just his stats. I've seen him play. I like his speed. I like his athleticism.
Have you counted?
But
wait,
you need
does
somebody
that
that can. Dude, Devontae Smith is too good of a talent to just throw.
Does that count the rushing
touch?
touchdowns? Does that count Hurts' rushing touchdowns? What you said? Because you need to count those. He had 3 rushing touchdowns the other game.
True.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it counts rushing touchdowns. It probably doesn't. But either way, I think you need. I think he needs to be a better thrower.
Yeah.
Devontae, you have too much talent.
I agree with that.
You have too much talent. So Devontae Smith, Rieger, you have good receivers there. They're just
Rieger's not good, but Goddard is good.
They're not getting. Yeah, they're just not getting the ball.
They had Ertz, and Ertz
I
is
think they're all
immediately.
decent.
Yeah,
but Devontae Smith is definitely somebody they should be using way more.
And he could have bigger numbers. I think he could have. He's the first wide receiver pick that's like gone off.
But then you're saying it's on the. Then your argument should be that it's on the coaching staff, not Hurts, because Hurts got Rager the ball. So what else do you want him to do?
Yeah, once in a while he can give him the ball, but like, I want to see more throwing from him because you have too good of a talent. They can win you games. Devontae Smith is a game changer. Look at Jalen Waddle. They're both from Alabama. Jalen Waddle is helping the Dolphins do pretty good. Well, not pretty good, but he's helping their offense do well this season, putting up a lot of points. Devontae Smith can do the same thing. He needs to get more targets, and it's not the coach's fault. What can you do if you call a passing play and Jalen Hurts rushes it like half the time? You can't do anything about that. And it's not his fault. He just can't throw as well as Carson Wentz can throw. They should have been. I mean, hey, I'm not going to lie. I said, hey, Jalen Hurts should start initially. I'm not going to lie. That was a mistake.
No,
they should have been patient.
No, we were right.
No, you were right, dude. Don't do this to yourself. You were right.
No, they should have been patient because look, Carson Wentz has the experience, and Jalen Hurts maybe could have learned a little bit more in the next couple of years, but they threw him to start, and he's sort of struggling. Look, he has a few touchdowns here and there, but I think that quarterback position can do a lot better with those receivers that he has. If Carson Wentz was there, I think he had that bad season. Okay, he was coming back from injury, right? He had a bad season, but they should have been patient, I think. Look at him now. Look, I mean, yes, he's a good running back. He's a good line. That helps, but still, you need somebody that can throw the ball well, throw it often, not rush every single time. Stay in the pocket and throw the ball. I don't think Jalen Hurts is there right now. And I think that's the real issue.
I know. I agree. I agree that he's not there, but it's his second season. You got to give him a chance. He has to develop. I mean, Carson Wentz, you know what Carson Wentz is now is what he's going to be. He's a pocket passer that rushes out of the pocket once in a while, throws a bunch of interceptions. He'll never go to a championship game.
Well,
Jalen Hurts has that ability. Jalen Hurts has the potential. The coaches need to work with him, and hopefully they do. You cannot tell me that the Eagles are better off with Wentz instead of Hurts. You can't.
Well, look, if you look at the greats, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, they're pocket passers. There's a reason why pocket passers are the best quarterbacks. You know why?
Mahomes?
Because they're really
Mahomes
smart.
can run, but
Mahomes
like Wentz can run too. Like Wentz, have you seen Wentz's highlights of him? This is even on the Colts. Like how even in the Tampa Bay game, it was like 3rd and long, and he evaded. Like he ran for the first. But I would say he is a pocket passer with the running ability, similar to Mahomes. Like Rodgers, like okay, you think of a pocket passer, pure. I think of Roethlisberger, Manning, Brady, like guys who are not my words, but trees, you know,
right? Not gonna they're gonna rush like once every 3 games.
To see them run is a miraculous event, you know. Where
yeah,
there are, but I was not even relating to this, not to cut you off, Jonathan. But there was a thing about how if you want to last for years in this league, like athletic quarterbacks, that because if your advantage or competitive advantage is athleticism, that goes away to some extent with age.
Exactly.
Whereas, like Jonathan's kind of alluding to, and this is what I was thinking about, just like pocket passers, because kind of like how I was thinking of Mac Jones. I know we're gonna get into it, but like you go with the head, that can, if you play with your head, that can carry you for years. Whereas athletic quarterbacks, you kind of start to see peaks earlier, and if you don't adjust to becoming a pocket passer, then you know what I mean. It's just something I was not even related to this, but it just came up, and I was like, oh, you know.
And you can always get smarter. Right, Caleb? You can always get smarter in the game.
And I have hopes for Hurts to be that. I don't think he's dumb either. It's just like, I don't think he had like some of the he can throw dimes. Like people were saying he can't throw the ball. Because there's that bias of because he runs, he can't do this. Like, no, I think he's a good passer, but I respect your take, Jonathan, for what you said about Wentz. Because as an Eagles fan, watching how well he's doing on the Colts, I'm happy for him. I like him a lot as a person and a player. And I said this in last year or in the offseason that like, and this was when it was hypothetical, but if the Eagles lose Carson Wentz, it's a reflection of the organization's failure to give him the tools and weapons. And that was partly, not that the O-line was bad, but injuries on the O-line became such a problem. And for all the injury talk that Wentz got, especially in his last season, he was the only starter who was consistently starting. Whereas like every other offensive player was out. The receivers were out. Like, considering that 1 year where all the like Travis Fulgham was the top guy for a while, and he was good, but it was like Wentz was elevating everyone and willed this team to the playoffs. So to see him do well, I don't think he's a fraud. And the way he was described last year, the way he was playing, I could see the argument, but to see him do well behind a Colts team that does rush a lot, that does have a good offense, but with the complement of Reich and Wentz, like I think that's just the player. He can become that player that he is, and he's doing really well. Statistically, like Jonathan, you mentioned, like those are really great numbers. He's definitely had a rebound year, and I think it's like you compare it to maybe Baker Mayfield, who is in a similar situation where really good defense, good O-line, good running game, but you put Baker on the Colts, I don't think he has the same highs as Wentz does. And even the picks that he does throw, I was watching some of the Colts highlights. In the games they've lost, it's been by like a missed field goal or some missed opportunity that wasn't necessarily Wentz's fault. Sometimes the picks are his fault. Sometimes it's like 3rd and long. It's going to be a punt anyway, and it's a long, deep pass that turns into the turnover, but still like you have to keep the defense honest, and it's a pass that I can accept. So I have high hopes for Hurts, but like you said, it in a way it hurts as an Eagles fan to see Wentz do so well. I don't think he's a fraud. I just think the Eagles weren't the right fit at the right time. It's just like the one who got away. So we weren't in love at the right moment.
So
Yeah.
Jared, I'm sorry was this your plan for this to be the first topic? Or
Hey,
no?
let's roll with the punches, man. I mean, I'm just gonna keep going with this debate because
So
we're
we'll
in
talk
it.
about. So we're gonna continue talking about NFC East right now.
Let's keep going because I got something to say about Hurts now too. So
What do you guys?
What's the end? What's the end question? Like, are we trying to figure out who's?
That wasn't the question.
I don't even know what the question is.
I don't
Well,
even.
Jared, what's your thought, Jared? What's your thought on Hurts?
Let's just keep
liked
going.
him.
I mean, I love this just straight debating, and I mean,
You like him, right?
So here's my thing, and I brought this up on the last podcast 2 weeks ago. Jalen Hurts and Mac Jones. Who would you rather have?
For this year or career?
This year.
Mac Jones.
Mac Jones, probably.
So you'd rather have Mac.
Okay, this year Hurts.
Okay, so I
like that he can run. It makes it fun to watch.
I told everyone last week or 2 weeks ago when we had the podcast that they have such similar stats, and 2 weeks go by. They both have 8 interceptions. Mac has 3 more throwing touchdowns, but Hurts has 8 rushing touchdowns. So he definitely total has more. And then yards, he has only 400 yards passing. Mac has 400 yards more passing.
Okay.
What's the QBR?
QBR's 50. ESPN does it weird, but it's 14th overall for Mac and 22nd for Hurts.
That tells you right there.
It's not a
Here's the thing.
mid-tier to bottom mid-tier though.
I think it's situational. I think you have Mac Jones, who's an average quarterback, just happens to be in a great system with Bill Belichick.
And he's a rookie.
What does that have to do with anything?
Yeah, rookie. He's been impressive for rookie. Jalen Hurts, this is your third year in the NFL. He should be a little bit further developed in terms of knowing the game.
Dude, he doesn't have nearly as good of a coach, though.
This is a new coach. So it's like his first year again. It's
interesting points, though, from both sides. I never considered that.
And the Patriots line is significantly better than the Eagles, for one. And the rushing game for the Pats has started to come out with Damian Harris, Stevenson coming out well, the other guy, Bolden. So, like, they have way better rushing than the Eagles. It's like every facet, every other position is better. And Hurts is doing everything he can. I mean, granted,
I would say that the Eagles have a better wide receiver than the Patriots. So.
Kendrick Bourne. No,
you think Bourne and Myers are better than
Smith alone?
Hunter Henry and Jonathan Smith.
Yeah, but you have Goddard. I would say Goddard and Henry are about a wash, but there's no way you think Bourne is better than Devonta Smith, right?
Do you?
No.
It's okay if you do.
No, but
we're here to be friends. You can be honest with us.
No. Devonta Smith's amazing. But what I'm saying is Hurts is doing everything he can. It's not like he's costing them these games. I mean, he could have won it in the game against the Giants, and Rieger drops it. So, like, he's putting everyone in the position to win, and his players aren't coming up with it. And Miles Sanders is a big one. I think they need to figure him out. I mean, it's actually I hate to say it, but it's really similar to what the Giants are dealing with Barkley. I mean, Miles Sanders and Barkley have different situations as far as Barkley's doing injuries, and Sanders just hasn't come to fruition at all. But, like, you got to decide, is this your back or not? Like, is this your back for the next 4 or 5 years or what? Because Eagles don't use him enough, for one, and he's always injured, so he's on and off with injuries. But the run game is just so bad, and if you had a decent running back behind Hurts and you run like that option in the red zone, I mean, Hurts is stealing all the rushing touchdowns from the running backs, which is great for me. Dude, that week, last week or 2 weeks ago, when he had like 3 rushing touchdowns and 0 passing, perfect. I loved it. But I think Hurts is doing everything he can. It's just situational.
So do you think
you have a new coach, bad offensive line, Devonta Smith is good, but that's him and Goddard. Like, still, it's like no one's been proven yet to make up a good game plan for him.
So do you think he's the guy? Like, do you think he's the future?
It's too early to tell, but I don't see any reason why you would say no this early.
Right. I feel the same way.
As an Eagles fan, I like Hurts. I think he's fun. I think he definitely shows, like you're saying, Jared, like a part of me feels like some of the arguments against or for Hurts reflect what it was like with Wentz. Only difference was Wentz was like a couple years down the line. But it's like, I would argue that like I last year I said a lot, like if it weren't for Wentz, we wouldn't even be in the position to potentially win games. And I feel like it's similar this year where we're starting to do better. The run game and injuries are starting to hurt. It hurts. Like Hurts' ability is hampered by other factors, and that was the same with Wentz. But at the same time, to see the running ability, like to see that mixed bag, I think Hurts has a bright future ahead of him. I don't necessarily like what's done is done between Wentz and Hurts, but Hurts, he can definitely improve more. If it's between Mac Jones and Hurts, I like to watch Hurts because he's just more fun to watch when you can have a quarterback who does that.
Yeah.
I like, Jonathan, your argument that as a rookie that he's comparing to the second year, even though it's Hurts' first full year as a starter. So it's kind of, it's with a new coach. They're in very similar positions, whereas last year it was a whole debate between Hurts and Wentz, and it was still Peterson, and then this year, first full season, first new coach. It's interesting, but the fact that they are still that close. I mean, the only stat that matters though is wins, and it's like all that matters, to an extent, but it's like for me, if you a quarterback, this is the most important position in football because it wins you games. So you don't have to have the best stats in the league to win the Super Bowl, Mm-hmm. So can Mac Jones or Hurts, if they're fourth quarter end of the game, who could win it, I'm curious what you guys would say. Part of me would say, Hurts, from what I've seen, has been able to bring it back, has that in him.
Oh, for sure. I would trust Hurts way more than Mac Jones when it comes down to the line, like fourth quarter. But let's open it up for the rest of the NFC East because it's a tight race. You wouldn't think so. It's a tight race because the Cowboys keep losing, and we thought they had it in the bag, and they're fumbling the bag. So the Cowboys are at 7-4 at the top of the division. Right behind them, Washington at 5-6, Eagles at 5-7, and Giants at 4-7. Is that correct? That's correct. Yeah,
that's correct.
Mm-hmm.
The byes make it a little weird.
Yeah.
So Washington had the big win against Seattle, and the Giants had the win over the Eagles, and the Cowboys lost to the Raiders last week. So we talked about the Eagles. Let's talk about the Giants because, John, this is your team. You were talking to us before. You're talking to me before about Daniel Jones being possibly out for this week.
Yeah, he actually just got ruled out, so he's not going to play against the Dolphins. It's going to be Mike Glennon starting. And
the Dolphins, in our next topic, hot teams, they're one of the hottest teams this year. So it couldn't have happened at a worse time.
Yeah, to be honest with you, as much as I'd like to say that we're in the hunt and we can make the playoffs, it's definitely statistically possible. But I got to be realistic here. I know some of the fans might not like it, but I don't think we can make the playoffs. I mean, unless we steal a win this weekend, which our defense actually played really good against the Eagles. So it's possible we go into Miami and win this game. Even with Glennon at quarterback, I still think we could win this game. But then we have to go at the Chargers the week after. Then we play the Cowboys, who we lost to and we can't seem to beat. And then Eagles, Bears, and Washington, which we could definitely make the playoffs. But one thing that really concerns me is Saquon's injury. He said that he's back, but he said that this ankle injury is going to nag him for the rest of the year, which is not good. That means he's going to be in a limited timeshare. And even when he was fully healthy, he wasn't really even doing that good. He had that one good game against the Saints, but it's been tough sledding for him in the offensive line. So with Daniel Jones being week to week, he's already ruled out for the game on Sunday, and it's Tuesday. We're recording this on Tuesday, so that's not a good sign for even the next week against the Chargers. I would just say that it's a really tough road ahead. I'd give it only like 10 to 15% chance of us making the playoffs. We would have to make a wild card. So I don't know. What do you guys think that the Giants have a chance or no?
I've tried my best, John. I really have to believe in the Giants and to really make them, my second favorite team. And it's hard, man. I don't know how you do it year in and year out. I mean, what sucks and what's so painful is your defense for the second year in a row is top 10, top 5 defense.
Right. It's getting better. It always gets better later in the year.
And if you guys just had a mediocre, we say this every year, but it's like an average offense, I think you'd be winning these games. If you score like 28, you've won the game.
Right.
21, you won.
Our best receiver, who is our starting receiver, Kenny Galladay, doesn't even have a touchdown this season. That explains it. Like how could your number one receiver not even have a touchdown all year? Cooper Kupp has over 10.
And firing Jason Garrett might help that. They won against the Eagles, but they didn't score a lot. But maybe firing him could lead to something in the future, but I don't know if it's gonna have I don't think it's gonna pay off this early to be able to make a playoff push. It's unfortunate. I want to see him in, but it's looking worse and worse when you have like Washington with Heineke. I mean, I don't know how this guy keeps winning. This guy he didn't even win his quarterback job in the XFL, and he is leading Washington again to a playoff spot, 5-6.
Yeah. I mean, look, in terms of the Giants, they're not a playoff team. I've seen them play multiple times this season. They have so many issues. I'm not even worried about them. Washington, okay, this year they're better than the Giants, obviously. They're the real deal. Their offense, Heineke is good. They have a great offensive coordinator. I don't know who it is. I have to search it up, but
he's just good.
He's pretty good.
You can tell.
Okay. And so, yeah, I mean, Washington could definitely at least make the wild card, I think, because, the offense is lethal. I don't know how long Chase Young is out, but, when he comes back, he's out for the season.
John, isn't he season ending?
I'm not sure. Let me check.
I thought it was.
I thought it was.
Still, I remember it because I think he was out for the season, which sucks. But they still won that game. I think
they did. Yeah, they keep winning. So I mean,
yeah.
Oh yeah, he tore his ACL.
Yeah, and he had a successful surgery though, but he's probably out for this. Yeah, he's out for the season.
Yeah, I mean, look, the offense has all the pieces. Decent running back, McLaurin, receiver one. Heineke is able to throw the ball well. Right.
Yeah.
You don't have to be the most athletic. You just have to be pretty smart, know the game, and be able to give your receivers the ball to make plays. And he's doing that.
Right.
And the offensive coordinator, I don't know who it is. I don't know who the offensive coordinator is, but he's been doing pretty good. And yeah, I mean, hey, the Eagles can make it. I'm not saying Jalen Hurts though. I'm not saying he's a scrub. He could definitely come out of this and perform well this season and in his career, but he'll have to throw the ball a little bit more. But he can do that. We'll see. So I think it's between the Cowboys, Washington football team, Eagles. Yeah, the Giants are pretty much done. They're not going to make the playoffs.
They can make the wild card.
Yeah, I mean, statistically, yes, it's possible. Like, if you're asking our opinion, if it's a real, it might be 10%, but is it really like a real, what's the quality of this 10% chance?
Exactly. Yeah.
So, I mean, this division is always, like we've said, it's going to come down to the last few weeks. Okay, this is the Washington football team. They play the Raiders this week, right? But then after that, their last 5 games are Cowboys, Eagles, Giants. So their last 5 games are against NFC teams.
Dude.
And the Eagles play the Jets this week. Then they get a bye. Then after the bye, they play Washington, then the Giants, then Washington, then the Cowboys. So there's still so much to sort out.
Yeah,
none of these teams have played more than one divisional game.
Too close to tell.
You gotta watch Washington. Washington playing the Cowboys twice, and they're 2 games out of first place.
Yeah.
Cowboys got to start winning, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not worried. We're missing some of our best players. That's the reason.
Yeah. Yeah, the Cowboys seem to have gotten a little bit of a little trouble jump starting after a hot start,
And Mike McCarthy is out for this game on Thursday.
He doesn't do anything anyways.
Oh, that was so fast.
Do you think has any effect? Because now Dan Quinn, who can't hold the lead, is now going to be the interim head coach for this team.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna. I don't think he does anything. Yeah, I mean,
He's
I just hope Cooper plays at least. We need some more weapons. Dak
You
needs
need
some more weapons.
you need somebody for the
Well,
you need
healthy
somebody
weapons.
for the you need somebody for the camera to pan to on the sideline to complain.
Well, that's like with the Giants losing their offensive coordinator, from the former Cowboys head coach to I mean, sure they won, and that's ultimately the thing that matters. But is that the kind of offensive strategy? Like, they got a touchdown and won off of field goals, and arguably the Eagles, even with a minute left, were able to still contend for the win. Aside from a Boston Scott fumble and then the final pick that went through Rager's hands. Well, not the pick, but like that. It's like they got 13 points, and it's Eagles have a good defense, but yeah, personally, it's still too close to tell. Statistically, it's anyone's game, and the way the season play out. I mean, part of me wants to say don't forget about Daniel Jones when he's good, because I know it's still a question mark. I know it's like a lot of Giants fans. Right, but he's got some wheels on it. If he starts running, if the reason I don't want to discount him is towards the end of the season, if it's like I'm playing for my job here, my life, I'm curious to see what we'll get out of his bag of tricks. Now, outside of that factor, I view the NFC East as a three-way race between Cowboys, Washington football team, and the Eagles. Because everyone has a chance. I'm not discounting the Giants. I just think it depends largely on Jones. That being said, I think it's the Washington football team has a real chance to win the division if they can beat out the Cowboys with that schedule. Honestly, I feel like it's going to end up being more the Cowboys will probably get the first one. But I've said this for a long time now, ever since they changed their name. But don't underestimate WFT. I've liked Heineke from week one, and I called them to beat the Bucks originally, and they did that. So it's like they're on in terms of the hottest team in the NFC East, they're on a 3-win streak. They've won 3. They got off their bye and then won, I think, or something.
Right?
Like
they 3 in a row.
They're
since
hot,
the bye.
and for a team to improve as the season goes on rather than get worse, which is sadly what you're seeing with the Cowboys a little bit, and the part of that's injuries. It'll be interesting to see how the Washington football team does without Chase Young, but that's don't underestimate them. So I could see them contending with certainly the Eagles and the Cowboys for either wild card or playoff. I am too biased, so I want the Eagles to win the division. It's still anyone's game, though. So this is why it's fun that we waited till this week to start talking about the NFC East, because it's so it's like too close to call. It's just like, who knows? Because all these teams can potentially win and lose games they should not win or lose either way.
The NFC East is down to the Eagles and the Cowboys. The Washington football team, not in it, and I'll tell you why.
Why?
You guys should know this. You're all in the NFC East. There has not been a back-to-back champion of the division since 2004, 2003, 2002. With the Eagles did it. Actually did it 4 years in a row.
Yeah,
but since that point, it's been a different winner every year. Who won it last year? Washington football team. They're out completely. They can make a wild card, but it's down to the
just
Eagles
off that
and the Cowboys now.
So now it's locked in for the Cowboys, because I know the Eagles aren't making it.
I mean, you never know. You never know. You have to keep it open, and I'm going to say Eagles, Cowboys. Those are the two. So Washington football team is out completely, unless a miracle happens and they go back to back. But they don't even have a name, so I doubt that. Okay, so the NFC East is over and done with. We're going to go to the hottest teams from the NFL. And I'm not talking about looks. I'm talking about wins. So the Patriots, the Dolphins, and the Chiefs. I picked 3. And the Patriots have the longest winning streak right now at 6 games. The Dolphins and Chiefs both have 4 wins straight. The Patriots, man, they beat the Jets, Chargers, Panthers, Browns, Falcons, Titans. Those are some pretty respectable teams. Dolphins have beaten the Texans, Ravens, Jets, and Panthers. And the Chiefs have beaten the Giants, Packers, Raiders, Cowboys. John, I'm going to start off with you because I feel like I know what you're going to say. But which one of these teams do you think, they're all good teams, they're all hot teams, but which one can keep it going and maybe make the playoff push? Chiefs are in first place. Patriots are in first. Dolphins, I believe, are in second behind the Patriots. Am I wrong on that?
The Dolphins?
Yeah,
No,
they
they're
second or third?
they're in third because the
They're in
Bills
third.
are in
The
second.
Bills. Okay, so those three teams, do you think the Patriots, Chiefs hold their division? Do you think the Dolphins maybe get into the second place over the Bills? What's your thought process when I tell you Patriots, Dolphins, Chiefs are all on a winning streak? Do you think it's just a fluke?
No, I think it's understandable. I want to start off with the Dolphins just really quick because last year they won 10 games, I think, and they were pretty good last year. And then this year they start off like really bad, but you knew they were going to start getting going. The cornerbacks, Xavier Howard and Byron Jones, started off the year horribly, but now they're playing better. So I would be careful in fantasy starting anybody against the Dolphins. I wouldn't start Galladay this week or any Giants receiver, Tony Shepard, anything like that. But basically, I think the Dolphins, it's respectable. They've won some good games, beat the Ravens, and then beat the Panthers last week. So that's pretty good. But I don't think they're going anywhere in terms of division. And then Patriots, I'll talk about in a little bit. But yeah, they have beat some good teams. I think the best one was the Chargers. Titans didn't really have any receivers. Browns have been struggling. Same with the Panthers. So that's okay. But really what I want to talk about is the Chiefs. Like answering your question, I think the Chiefs are the one out of these to make the longest run. And I told you guys, remember like a month ago, we had that podcast and we were like, all right, what's going on? It was like week 7, week 8. And we're like, are the Chiefs like good anymore? Are they even going to make the playoffs? And I came on and I told you guys, the Chiefs are going to, everybody's going to forget about these first couple weeks. One of the guys, we did like responding to TikTok comments. And I was like, I completely agree with whoever said that the Chiefs are going to be back to the top of the AFC. They're going to be the number 1 or number 2 seed. Everybody's going to forget about the first 7 weeks of the season. And I think they're going back to the Super Bowl. And I still believe that. And the reason is because they started to pick it up. Like you said, they beat the Giants, beat the Packers, which was a little bit of a struggle. Then they beat the Raiders, put up 41 points. And a lot of you guys said, oh, it's the Raiders. That was just a fluke. But then they beat the Cowboys. And they had a decent offensive showing. Not great. I wouldn't say that they're all the way back, but they just had a bye this past week. And now they get the Broncos at home. And remember, that week 12 bye has been really good. The Buccaneers last year had a week 12 bye, won the last 4 games of the season and went on to win the Super Bowl. I'm not saying the Chiefs are going to do that. I'm just saying having that bye in week 12 sets up a good run for the rest of the season. They play the Broncos. They could win that easily. The Raiders, Chargers, Steelers, Bengals, Broncos. So definitely some tough opponents. But I think down this stretch, I think the Chiefs are the team out of these 3 that you mentioned on streaks that could keep it going the longest and get momentum into the playoffs.
Interesting.
You guys agree?
Yeah, I don't agree. The Chiefs, that story is a bit, it's not completely accurate. Aaron Rodgers didn't play the Packers game, so, they barely got out of that one. In terms of the Raiders, we said they weren't that good. It's already noted, but the Cowboys, CD got hurt. Cooper wasn't playing, so he didn't really get the Cowboys' best. So I'm still not impressed by the Chiefs. You said number 1 or number 2 seed, probably not number 1. I'd say maybe 2, probably 3 or 4 seed or something like that. But I think I would say the team that's the hottest right now is the Patriots, and the big reason is not because of Mac Jones, but because of the defense. This defense is the best in the NFL.
What about Nick Folk?
Nick Folk, yeah, okay. Yeah, he's good too.
21 fantasy points for me this week.
Yeah, was how much, 21?
21, Jonathan. He's a god. He's an absolute, oh my God.
For those who don't know, it's the kicker, right?
Yeah, he's like 44 years old, kicking 52-yard bombs. Oh,
yeah, he's
I need
to
hold on one second because I want to read off his stats for the last few games.
Wiki too.
Dude, he literally only has 4 games the whole season with under 10 fantasy points. All the rest have been above 10. 21 points this past week, 16 points the week before. He's had 17 points, 14 points, 15 points, 15 points, 11 points. He's done better than CeeDee Lamb this season.
I put him in my flex if I could.
I mean, really.
God.
Darn
Yeah.
it. I love consistent kickers like that.
Jonathan, you have the Patriots defense. You know all well that defense has just been lighting it up.
Yeah, they've been lighting it up for sure. Look, it's obviously behind Bill Belichick. I guess his son helps coach defense as well. They are just too smart. They know how to figure out every single team they play. So when they face the Bills, they know Josh Allen's weakness. They're gonna use it against him. I don't see how the Bills can come out of that. I think the Patriots, they're in first place. I don't think they're gonna lose that first place position. They're going to the playoffs. Probably, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they get first seed.
Oh my
They're the
gosh,
best
no,
defense in
come
the
on.
AFC for sure. No doubt.
I just remembered something. This is off the cuff, but I remember last year, Jonathan, you said that the Patriots would make the playoffs just solely off of Bill Belichick and his coaching and his just being the best coach in the NFL, that he, no matter what team he had, that he's probably going to go to the playoffs. Now they had Cam and Cam sucked, but now that they have a decent quarterback and some decent receivers around him, and they're making the most of it.
Exactly. And look, Nick Folk is having a heck of a season, but let's be honest, the offense deserves a lot of the credit because they at least get him in field goal range most of the time, right? Mac Jones and the offense, they do the basic things you need to get done to, win a game. And that's what you need. A killer defense, just get some points on every single drive. I mean, look, this team is going to probably get the first seed in the AFC. I don't think you can say the same thing about the Chiefs. The Chiefs defense, they're atrocious still, Look, the Cowboys scored 9 points, but again, we didn't have our best weapons. I don't think there's a team in the AFC like the Patriots in terms of defense, and defense wins championships. So, I think the Patriots on a hot streak, and I don't think they're not going to stop anytime soon.
Yeah, the Bills were the defense that was the talk of the town, and they've looked awful. Just all around, the Bills have just looked awful recently. I don't know what's going on in Buffalo, but Caleb, what are your thoughts? Dolphins, Patriots,
Chiefs is the third one, right?
Yeah.
I like bouncing off Jonathan's comments just now. Like, I'm looking at the AFC just as a whole, and what defenses, like, Patriots certainly invested a lot in the offseason in defensive talent, and it's starting to show. There was a rocky start for them, and it wasn't till, like, in terms of teams that are on a hot streak, and I think have proven it to an extent, I'd like to see the Patriots play even some of the top 5 teams in the league. I don't know if you consider the ones they have already to have done that, but they've beaten really good teams, and it's like I think it's a team game, and Mac Jones is playing his part, and Belichick's kind of running the show, and they just do such good fundamental football, which is good defense that don't turn over the ball, play good offense that at least gets you a field goal or converts, and it's just showing. So I'm looking at the AFC, and like Bills might have a good defense in comparison. Maybe the Ravens, the Colts had put up there too, even though they lost, but because of that run game, it gives your defense a lot of grace, But like you said, the Chiefs are definitely on a hot streak. I consider the Chiefs and Patriots to be similar in the sense that Mac Jones has shown that he has a head on his shoulders, that he's taken the opportunity of working with Belichick and has at least converted it in a way that I think is also the match before they even got to before they even got together, that the Patriots knew what they were doing, that Belichick knew who was getting someone who was compatible with him, and they're making the most of it. But the Chiefs and Patriots I consider similar because they have 2 really experienced coaches. Andy Reid from, I don't know if I agreed in the moment, but I think I still contend that the Chiefs were going to figure themselves out. Like, that coaching staff that Reid has and the team itself is too much talent to just meander the rest of the season. Like, they have the fundamentals on offense, at least, to pick it up, and they've shown that. So I think both teams are legit, going down to the core of who they are, bouncing back. With the Patriots, I mean, they have the longest win streak in the league. I know, Jared, you brought up they're on a 6-win streak. Yep. In the league, they're not only of the 3, but in the whole league. And if you're counting the fact that they did beat they lost to the Patriots, but that was because of no, not to the Patriots. They lost to the Bucs. The Patriots lost to the Bucs because that last-minute field goal hit the upright. And a
crazy weather game too.
It was low scoring, and like, had it not been for that, how much different would the narrative be with the Patriots right now? And of course, they were playing against Brady himself, and he won the game, but it wasn't like people were like, "Oh, Brady came back and killed his old team." Like, no, he came down to the wire and a bit of luck, which fair play. Brady seems to get a lot of, and he played as long. But had they won that, they'd be on a 7-win streak or whatever. I don't know if they won the first 2 before that, but maybe in the beginning it looked really rough, and there's a lot of comparison between Belichick, started second year without Brady, not doing well, to Brady got a ring. It's incredible, but yeah, I still think the Chiefs and Patriots have it in them as in terms of the hot streaks. They deserve what they get. I'm hesitant to say they're going to get the number 1. The Patriots will, because it's like it's a rookie quarterback. It'd be something. It would be annoying if you ask me. If the Patriots get the number 1 seed with a rookie, like they've been good for so long that it's annoying that like, oh, they have a new guy now, and it's like, oh, we have to worry about another dynasty. And I don't want that.
Did Dak's first year, Dak and Zeke, were they the first seed in their rookie?
Yeah. So
and
it has happened before.
No, yeah, I'm not saying it. I'm more from the emotional argument. Like, I don't want the Patriots. I want the Patriots to be bad for a while. Like that fan base has had so much success for so long that I think it's easy to get spoiled. And we don't want. We don't want that. As a friend to Boston community, I don't want that for you.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, Jonathan, you were gonna say.
Yeah, I'm saying one thing to be proud of as a Patriots fan. Every single week, Bill Belichick and the team, they're going to bring it. They're not going to lay an egg. If you lose, it's probably going to be like 5, max 10 points or something.
Mm-hmm.
But, other teams, they can't say the same thing. They don't have coaches like that. Bills, 41-15 against the Colts. You guys thought I forgot. No, I didn't forget. 41-15, they lost against the Colts. The Bills.
The Patriots lost 28-13 against the Saints, and the Saints suck.
28-13. That's pretty close.
That's
actually that's really close.
Was that with Winston though? Was Winston
playing? No, that was with Winston.
Oh, that's
different. That's different.
Yeah. So Patriots, the real deal.
Yeah, I like them, and plus it goes down to coaching for those two. With the Dolphins, again, they're on a 4-win streak, so I wouldn't discount them. It's just that division is so tight. You're starting to look for the Dolphins potentially. They'd have to. If the Patriots and Bills didn't move, the Dolphins would need to come back at least 2 games up, assuming the top 2 just lost the next couple games. But they could be in for a wild card. I've liked the Dolphins to an extent that I don't think they can make a deep run, to be honest. But Dolphins were bad for so long that, on the contrary to the Patriots, it'd be cool if they made it to the wild card. But I don't know if that's going to happen.
The wild card's in play for like every team, but the Dolphins beat Texans, Ravens, Jets, Panthers. The only good team was the Ravens, and that was on Thursday night, so it was a short week. And the Ravens didn't look their best. It seemed like they just beat themselves. Actually, you know what? I take that back. Dolphins had a really good game plan on defensively.
Yeah, they actually did.
Yeah, I got to give respect to that. I take that back. But other than that, Texans, Jets, Panthers, those aren't crazy wins. I feel like they just got a good schedule to be able to rack some wins up. I think you got to go with the coaches. Like Caleb, like you said, you have to go with the good coaches, Bill Belichick and Andy Reid. I think if I had to pick 2 teams or even one team, it would just be the Patriots just because they have the best head coach. And Jonathan, you said it multiple times. They always have a chance. Every team that they play, even if it's against Tom Brady, they lost by a field goal. Like they're always in it no matter what. Any given Sunday, Caleb. All right. We're doing really great on time, so I don't want to talk too much about this topic. So does anybody else have anything, to add on hot streaks, hot teams, anything? Or can we just go into weekly predictions? Chargers, Bengals, Patriots, Bills. Wow.
Let's do it.
Let's go. I want to hear your guys' thoughts.
Week 13, folks. I said it just now. Chargers versus Bengals. Who has the home team in that?
The Bengals are at home.
So it's Chargers, Bengals in Cincinnati, and then Patriots, Bills, at Buffalo?
Yeah, in Buffalo.
All right. So let's start off with Chargers. The Chargers just came off a loss to the Vikings. Who they lose to?
They lost.
Speaking of hot streaks, Broncos, right?
They lost. Yeah, Broncos.
I'm a Chargers fan, but I'm a bigger Michigan fan, so I'm still really high off that Ohio State win. And I'll be honest, I just didn't watch the Chargers. I just didn't. I love Michigan way more.
You already got your football high for the weekend. You don't want to, you know what I mean? You don't want to taint it with anything less than, yeah.
Exactly. My blood pressure is too high, too much stress. My shoulder hurts from fist bumping, like hearing so much. But Chargers Bengals, I'm gonna be honest, I like the Bengals. I'm a Chargers fan, but the Bengals are the hot team. What was that score against Browns? Who was it?
This past week?
What was it, like 46?
The Steelers, it was 41-10.
Wow. Oh my God. 41-10.
The Bengals beat the Steelers.
The Bengals are going to win this game against the Chargers. Their defense, they had a pick six.
Be close. Everyone is like, it's so going to be high on Justin Herbert, and I love Justin Herbert to death, but like, people need to relax. People are putting him in top 5 in the league. No. Relax. It's only his second year. Chargers have not been consistent at all. I know this team,
right?
Very inconsistent. And the Bengals, I think at home, they're going to take the dub on this one. So I'm going to go Cincinnati Bengals. Chris Evans, let's go.
I also think the Bengals. I think it's going to be a Joe Mixon game. The Chargers aren't very good on the ground. They're usually better through the air. So I think the Bengals will see that. They're going to play decent defense. Probably a 27-17 win, if I had to put a number on it. I think that about that type of game, not a blowout, but not within a field goal.
Yeah, for me, the NFL is interesting because, many different teams, there's so much different teams, and not like just because one team beats another team doesn't mean, that team they beat is going to beat the other team.
Yeah.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And so, look, I think the Chargers have a lot of offensive weapons. They're definitely going to score points. I think the Bengals can as well. But I'm going to have to give this game to the Chargers. The Chargers need this.
Wow.
They need this. They know they need this. The Bengals, they need this as well. They're kind of competing for first place in the AFC North with the Ravens. But I think the Chargers need this more. They're neck and neck with Raiders, Broncos. I think the Chargers the coach is going to put all the cards on the table, the best plays. They're not going to try to save anything, right? The Chargers need this, and I think the Chargers are going to end up victorious on this. So I'm picking Chargers.
Yeah. Personally, I respect either pick. I think I like, Jared, your talk, because Herbert, I think, is the real deal. Ever since he came in for Tyrod, we talked about him going toe-to-toe with Mahomes and barely losing. It's clear that I think he's going to be really good, barring any craziness. And I think this is a big game for the narrative, for the media. This might be the future of when the marketing is like Rodgers, Brady. You might see Herbert, Burrow, the same class, kind of like those two great quarterbacks. You might see that down the line. I like either team to win this. If it was a clear winner, the only reason I'm going to pick the Bengals is because of, like you said, consistency issues with the Chargers. Can they win it? Do they have the talent to win it? Yeah. But then, I don't get a lot of Chargers games, and then I hear that they lost to a team that I thought they easily should have won against. So they definitely have it in them. And because it will be a shootout between two big name young quarterbacks, then anything can happen. So I respect, Jonathan, your take. It's just coming down to if I had to bet on it, the Bengals are coming off 2 straight wins. I like the argument that the Chargers are they need this. Both teams do need this, but the Chargers winning would mean more because it puts them in a better wild card and potentially tie the first place. Whereas, like you said, Jonathan, the Bengals do need it as well, but they already have, they can't get worse than the Chargers, in this position. They'll be even if the Chargers win. So I don't think that's a huge factor, but it's just consistency issues with the Chargers that makes me think it's definitely within them to do it, and they have the talent to do it. But I think the Bengals coaching, and between Herbert and Burrow right now, I think Burrow's a little hotter. He's one cool customer, with Chase and stuff. He's just got the big name, big playability, he's the if I was playing for him, I can just trust that in the big game moment, there's a chance we're going to win in the fourth quarter, and Herbert can do that too. But I just think with all the factors considered, I've given this one to the Bengals.
Yeah. Sorry. Just one last thing. What
No, I'm good.
separates the good teams from the great teams? The good teams are consistently showing out every single week. They're not going to lose to scrub teams, right? You can expect them not to lose to scrub teams. The Bengals, they're good. They're not great yet. They lost to the Jets. They got destroyed by the Browns 41-16. And so
Right.
if you think about that, those games they laid eggs. They could lay an egg.
The Chargers
Why not?
lost to the Chargers lost to the Cowboys. The Cowboys aren't good.
Oh my goodness. Stop it.
No, we can't go back to the NFC East. It's fair play
No,
though,
that's
Jonathan.
that's a good point.
It's a good argument that both teams have had weird losses, I'd say. So that's why I think it's a game to watch, though, because it's like the narrative of the quarterbacks, and then because both teams can lose easy games, that it's going to be. I hope it's going to be fun football at least. High scoring, be lots of mistakes on defense, make it a shootout. I'd like to see who wins.
It seems like it's been that all year. Like the AFC, we think a team's the best, and then they lose to like a crap team.
Yeah. Let me.
I actually have something to talk about for this next game. So it's Patriots versus Bills.
Okay.
Now we've hyped up the Patriots this whole podcast, basically.
Fair, yeah.
We've done that a lot with some other AFC teams. And I think I texted in the group chat about something called the dorm debate curse. And I'm going to get on it before this happens. The Patriots are going to lose to the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo because we talked about them so much. Now, the dorm debate curse, if you guys don't know, is when we talk about a AFC team as being, they are the clear best one, and then it's everybody else. It's this team, then everybody else. The first team we said, the Bengals. We're like, the Bengals are for real this year. They are going to win their division regardless. They're the ones. Then they lose the next week. Then John goes, see, I told you, the Bills are the real team. And then it's everybody else. Then they lose the next week. Then we go, the Ravens are the real team now. Lamar Jackson, John Harbaugh should be coach of the year. Then they lose the next week. Then we said Titans. We didn't even verbally say it. We just put it in the group chat. And then they lose Derrick Henry. And then they start. So now, before this happens, I'm going to say it. The Patriots, we've talked about them all podcast. They're going to lose this week.
Wait, is that Buffalo. Do you actually think they're going to lose, or are you just saying it because of the curse?
The curse influences what I think.
What you believe in. Well, this is consistent though, because you also said that there won't be a repeat. You're following trends. Like with the NFC East, you don't think the Washington football team, you don't believe they will win again because of the trend. So you think
history repeats itself, and they haven't been repeating.
So you think because we hyped up the Patriots, they're going to lose, and that's the main argument.
Look, John has time traveler powers, and I think our podcast has other powers as well. And I'm just realizing it now.
We can influence fate. So you can travel in time, but we can, in our little moment, we can also change it's like Back to the Future.
Yeah,
exactly.
We're in our alternate universe.
The flux capacitor is fluxing.
Dorm debate's talking about the Patriots. We got to adjust. Yeah, that's basically what's going on. Okay, fair enough.
So Buffalo Bills. I'm taking the Bills. I think if I had to bet on the Bills, like individually, I think Diggs will have one of his best games. He'll have to have his best game.
Okay. I'm gonna request to go last.
Sure, I'll go because I know Jonathan's video's off, but I'm sure you're here.
Oh, you're good.
Hey, what's up? Yeah, I was gonna say I like both teams again because we did hype up the Patriots, and I know it's in tune with the trend, if you will, that they're likely to lose if we talked about them and hyped them up. The reason I'm not picking the Patriots, I'm going with the Bills, is because despite the Bills' woes of late, okay, I just think because it's a divisional game, because they have that history, that fundamental coaching is still good with the Bills. It's just like they got into a little bit of a rut. And I think to play a division rival that's good will bring out the best in the Bills. It's kind of a very anecdotal argument, not really down to like they play man to man or this and that. I just think I've seen the high highs of Allen when he's good. I think even despite how consistent Mac Jones is, the Bills have higher highs that if they even are able to tap into that a little bit, it's going to put them over the edge against the Patriots, I think. Because the Patriots, I think their style, I don't know if it's true, but my feeling is it's almost they're so fundamental and it's consistent that it's hard to beat them. It's very similar when they had Brady, they could make big plays and stuff like that. Not that they can't with Jones because he certainly has the arm and stuff, but it's like if the Patriots go against the Chiefs when they're at their best, it goes down to having that star player capacity, and I think the Bills have more of that, and I think it will show in a division game where both teams are familiar with both schemes, and I think if it goes down to that, it'll come down to individual talent and coaching. And I think the Bills will be able to eke out a win over the Patriots.
Okay, so we have 2 Bills. Jonathan, are you gonna do it? Are you gonna pick your arch nemesis?
Well, look, I mean, it's simple. The Patriots are gonna win because, look, if you look at multiple games, like for instance, let's take the Colts game for instance. Bill Belichick is gonna sit in his office for 20 hours. Well, he's gonna have at least 1 20-hour day just watching the Bills game.
That's it. I think he's
like-
gonna do more than that.
Like a poker player doesn't even get up from the chair.
One day he's just gonna sit there for fun, probably eating popcorn and watching the Bills versus Colts game.
For
Because
fun.
That game
Just a
reveals so
hoodie
much
up
answers.
in a dark
game-
room. To coach, you ready to leave the team? No, give me a second, guy.
It's like Jonathan
Sorry.
in the computer lab. He's gonna sleep there.
Exactly. Exactly.
Jonathan, go. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Continue.
That game gives you so much answers as to why the Bills aren't elite yet. You see what I'm saying? The main obvious reason, the rushing. Okay, you need better rushing than that. What was it? They had 91 rushing yards. If you have less than 100 rushing yards, just FYI, if you have less than 100 rushing yards a game, NFL, I guess even college, high school, that's bad. You don't want less than 100 rushing yards. That's a red flag. Red flag right here. Bill Belichick, don't you think Van Noy, the Patriots linebacker, is going to annihilate, Josh Allen, the running backs for the Bills? That's going to happen. Van Noy is going to have a heck of a game.
Oh, not to mention Matthew Judon.
Exactly. Judon, Van Noy, all these guys, they're going to have a heck of a game against the Bills. And the reason being, they have a poor rushing attack. And so, it's going to be fun for the Patriots. It's going to be fun for the Patriots. And so that game in and of itself, Colts versus Bills, that game should tell you everything. But if I just wanted to have a bigger laugh, if I was Bill Belichick, the next day I'd order some ice cream and then watch the Jags versus the Bills. How do you lose to the Jags? Are you kidding me? Wasn't that the first one of the season? I think that was the first one of the season. How?
Oh, yeah.
See, I mean, so there's so much. If the Jags can beat you, there's something wrong. Right? The game is too long for you to say, oh, it was a miracle. No, it wasn't a miracle. You got beat by the Jags. The rushing's not good. Josh Allen, he's decent, but just all you have to do is put more defenders, put like 7 defenders out there, put 7 defenders out there, force them to run. They're not going to be able to do it. No, they're not elite. So, Patriots going to win this.
That was great analysis.
A lot of fire.
Yeah, you were ready. So, okay, Caleb. Oh, sorry, John. We have 2 for the Bills and we have 1 for the Patriots. Now, you're a Bills guy, man. Like you've liked Josh Allen. You called him for MVP. All this stuff about the Bills. I imagine I would bet my left foot that you wouldn't go against the Bills.
Really? Well, it looks like we're gonna have to buy you some crutches for the next couple weeks.
No way.
Because the Bills are gonna win this game.
Yes. My left foot.
I'm proud of you, Jared and Caleb. I don't know. I'm surprised you guys picked the Bills because the last 2 times that we picked a game, it was the Packers against the Cardinals. I was the only one that picked Packers, and then there was the Cowboys and Chiefs, and I was the only one that picked Chiefs.
Caleb picked Chiefs. You keep forgetting.
Caleb picked Chiefs. So I thought that this game you guys would all pick Patriots, and I would be the only one right. But props to you guys for catching on. You guys know that the Bills are going to win this game. They're at home. And I think what does Belichick like to do? He takes away your best option. He's going to take away Stephon Diggs. Diggs won't have a big game.
But
I think it's going to be
though.
No, it's going to be more of a Dawson Knox, Cole Beasley, maybe an Emmanuel Sanders. I agree with Jonathan though that if you want to beat the Bills, you have to just drop back and play the pass. They really can't run the ball. It's kind of bad. Like Jonathan, you hit that spot on. Like that's my biggest concern for the Bills is that they can't run the ball. Like their best rusher, I think, is Josh Allen this season, which is a little bit of a problem. But I think in this game at home, Monday Night Football, I think Josh Allen and the Bills are going to win this game. I think their defense is, I like lately, their defense hasn't been good against the Colts. People are like, oh, well, now the Bills defense is trash. Well, you guys are going to see against the Patriots, they're going to play well. They're still a really good defense. I think it's going to be low scoring, but I do think that the Bills are going to come away with the win and be on top of the AFC East again.
So 3 for the Bills. Jonathan's the only one with the
I
Patriots.
can't wait to be right.
And he was the only one with the Chargers.
Yeah, this is gonna be a good week.
So either
Please
Jonathan's
put this
going to
on.
be 2-0 or we're going to be 2-0.
Well, we can't. Jonathan had 2 players on fantasy collectively get him 90 points. So, it's been a good year for predictions and call. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. If you're right predicting it, your fantasy team's also going to benefit because you have the Patriots defense and then you have Eckler and you have Keenan Allen. So
that's why he made these picks.
Oh no, I even
Okay,
forgot
now
about
I
that.
now I get it. Actually, thank you for telling
John
me.
rolled his eyes.
I wasn't
And
even thinking about that.
now I know, Jonathan.
No, I didn't even think about that.
You
That-
almost
you
pulled
think
the
you
past
ruined
me. I forgot about your fantasy.
No. That even makes me more happy. I didn't remember that. I didn't remember that.
Oh, come on. That's the basis of your decision.
No. I promise. I was just doing the different analysis and all that. I forgot to add my things.
The numbers. The
You're gonna
numbers
win
mean we're
twice.
just all the analysis.
You'll win 4 times. You'll win double the times. You'll win in fantasy, and then you'll win twice in the
It's like
picking the Chargers in the.
it's a quadruple XP weekend for Jonathan.
I'm willing to bet that
yeah.
he loses all 4.
No, it's gonna be fun. Hey, this is gonna be fun.
Oh, man,
Jonathan's in first in our league, so he's got the hot hand.
crazy.
He's got the hot hand.
And I lost McCaffrey, so
I saw you
GG.
drop him. What a sad look.
Yeah, I saw that.
carry him for like 6 weeks while he's on IR, whatever, and then he plays 2 weeks, 1.5, and then I have to drop him again. So all the moves I could have made.
Yeah.
So sad.
All right.
So, get well, CMC.
Yeah.
Well, so that will wrap up our episode 13 for week 13. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yep.
Episode 13. Since we're going to skip 12 if anyone's confused. So a few things. John's fantasy football show. We had one premiere today, which would be Tuesday. But
yeah, I saw that.
You'll see one Saturday morning, so we'll be on the lookout for that. And then John's fantasy football show, his live show will be on TikTok from noon to 12:45. And then don't forget about the Patreon. You can do a $1 a week, $4 a week, or $5 a week.
1, 2, and 5.
1, 2, and 5 a week. You could pick either one. Each one has different things. Like you can get a 20-minute phone call with them for the $20 or the $5 one. And then you can do one-on-one answer questions with John. And then the other one is just you get the weekly picks and the must-sits written down right at, I think, 11:45, right before the live. So if you're busy between 12 and 12:45 during that live, you'll be able to just go onto the Patreon, see the weekly sits and weekly picks, and you'll be able to get that.
Follow us. You said Instagram, YouTube,
yeah, go
Apple Podcast, Spotify.
Yeah, go. Oh yeah. Our Spotify and we're on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Alexa Media Player. We're on everything. Thanks to Caleb, we're on everything now. So go follow us over on Instagram and on TikTok at Dorm Debate Podcast, and we will see you guys next week.